Hey, so I've been working on this parkour action game where you kick a lot of stuff. I've got a decent amount of the game done so far, and I really want to start a regular devlog series to cover the rest of the development of the game. I want to start by diving into the history of development to catch you all up. So let's roll it all the way back to the beginning. The beginning of everything. Okay, maybe not that far. Maybe just the start of the project. In July 2020, I made this wonky prototype where you could swing around and kick some bad guys. For fun, I decided to post it on Reddit, and to my surprise, it got quite a lot of love. Despite, to be honest, how rough the prototype looked. People clearly vibed with the idea of swinging around and kicking dudes. At the time, this was the most attention anything I'd ever made had got, so I decided to dive right in and start making a game out of it. The thing was, there wasn't really a game idea behind the prototype, it was just some cool thing I thought of. So I ended up just doing the first thing that came to mind, which was an arena combat game. The problem was, though, the kick really didn't provide anywhere near enough depth, and the whole gameplay experience ended up being a bit flat. I really wasn't happy with how it turned out, even though there were some good bits in there. Because of this, I decided to shelve the project as I really didn't know what to do with it. Cut to late 2021. I was thinking about the project again, and for some reason, I realized that de emphasizing the combat and focusing on the fun movement in the game could really work. And so, the current version of Kick Bastards was born. It'd be a movement focused parkour speedrunning game with some cool kick traversal mechanics. Taking some heavy inspiration from Mirror's Edge, I started creating some levels that were set up in this post apocalyptic skyscraper environment. I also started deving some mechanics like the parkour roll and the climb up to root the game in some traditional parkour and give players some more movement options. We ended up building this demo that had around 5 levels, and you know what? The game was really fun. However, there was one glaring issue. The length of the levels was kind of problematic. They're all 1 minute plus, and it killed a lot of people's desire to replay the levels and get a good time. It also meant that any mistakes you made could be really disheartening, especially when you're getting towards the end of the levels. While we were getting this demo complete, we had started to get a handle on what we wanted the game's story to be. You'd be playing a kick bastard, a member of a highly illustrious group of people who traded their souls to gain the power to change the world. The game starts just after the devil has decided to come and collect payment, and you wake up in hell, but you're not too happy about it, so you decide to escape. As we were going to have to remake levels anyway, we decided that we would get working on hell instead of starting off the game in the skyscraper stage like we originally thought. An extra benefit of this decision is that it gave me some time to work on my 3D modeling skills, so it could bring the visuals of the game up to a more professional level. Before I started modeling the new assets for Hell, I took some time to just watch some random Skillshare courses and build some random environment assets, like a library, just to get a bit of 3D modeling practice in. At some point, I decided I'd really had enough of random practice and I really wanted to get back to working on the game. So, for modeling the Hell things, I created a rough asset list of stuff I'd like to get in. They were roughly split into two groups: fort pieces and props. I wanted the fort pieces to be a little modular kit that I could use to create a bunch of different buildings in Hell. They all have very precise dimensions so that they can slot together really easily. And for the props, I just looked at a bunch of pictures of Hell on Google Images and picked out some things that I thought would be cool, like cages and weapons and skulls and stuff. Now that I had a full set of assets, I wanted to get stuck in with the levels. The tutorial levels, in some ways, are the easiest, so that's where I started. The difficult thing about the tutorial levels, though, is that they don't just need to tell the player that this button does this and that button does that. They need to communicate to players the way they should be approaching the game, which can be much trickier. And also, that's not to mention all the other things that players will do that will throw off your perfectly designed tutorial, like not reading anything that you write in the tutorial box that's more than 5 words long. While I was working on the new tutorial levels, I noticed the UI wasn't really as good as I'd like it to be. So I started working on a new UI style so it looked a bit more professional than before. I took some inspiration from Persona 5 here with bright colors and angles, although the result is probably about 5% as good as in that game. For the non tutorial levels, I want them to be a bit more towards the direction of the best sections in Mirror's Edge 1, where they are broadly linear, but there are lots of fun options to try and save some time or explore different routes within the main route. Because all these levels are right at the start of the game, I've kept the options a little lower to introduce players gently, but later in the game I'll ramp this up even more. We currently have all the tutorial levels done, plus 5 additional levels for stage 1, with a few more in a block out phase, which sort of looks like this. They need some playtesting and adjusting, and then they'll need a final art pass to finish them off. So that's what we have so far. We also have a nice Steam page up and running for Kick Bastards, which you should go visit right now, and make sure to wishlist the game so I can watch the little line go up and have a brief moment of happiness. That leads us on to the future of the project. Up next, we'll be finishing off the first stage and getting the final few levels in. Then we want to start work on updating the skyscraper stage with new art and levels. Beyond that, we want to get all the systems done and get the story all in the game. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe.